Hello and welcome. I'm Wolfgang Riebe. These are my quick tips, and today I'm going to be talking to you about your self-image. Most people believe self-image problems arise in teenage years. And yes, this is when you become conscious of your own body and you have all these pimples and how do I look, and you start freaking out, and this carries on through adulthood. However, that's not quite true. The problem is society today and how the majority of the people have been conditioned to believe what is good looking and what isn't, and what is the way you should look and how you shouldn't. Because what people do is they read these damn gossip magazines and they judge themselves according to, let's call them personalities, of which about half are whacked out anyway, and this is how they judge their own lives, how they should look. And we wonder, how come humanity is getting a bit messed up as far as self-image is concerned? They did a study many years ago, and now I stand under correction on the facts exactly, but I recall reading this and freaking out about it. They said if a woman were to look like a Barbie doll with that size breast and that narrow waist, her back would break. It's an unsustainable shape, yet people try and do this. Go figure, man. You have to learn to become comfortable with yourself. Let me tell you, from a male perspective, for me, a woman, no matter how she looks, how she's built, when she's comfortable with herself, I find that incredibly attractive. And I'm sure, ladies, you find that the same in a man. It's a kind of feeling of self-confidence and positivity that comes across, which very few people have. The problem is, how do you find it? First of all, you've got to accept who you are. You've got to realize, especially as a teenager, that we all get pimples. Even myself, I still get zits every now and then. That's just part of it. It's the processed foods, it's what we eat, it's the environment, it's the pollution in there, that all plays a role. But if you just look past that and don't think that people are going to judge you by how many pimples you have, that already makes a big difference. When I was younger, I used to be an entertainer, and I worked on cruise ships. And I'll never forget, one night before sailing into New York, it was a Friday night, I lost a tooth. Luckily, it was a clean cut, the whole tooth was gone, there was no pain. But an entire tooth. The Saturday, I couldn't get to the dentist, appointments were full already, and we were doing an Atlantic crossing. So that was 7 days, I was going to be without a tooth, and then we had to be in a port, it was a cruise liner, for at least 2 times, so that I could go for a fitting and then to have the tooth put in. It took about 8 weeks where I was on stage without a front tooth. Now, if you've ever lost a tooth, you lisp because you can't speak properly, right? And then as a youngster, this was a major image problem, and I was on stage. What now? How did I cope? Really funny. I came on stage and people would immediately notice the tooth. And I said, you know, this happened to me the night before we reached New York. So the next day I went to the dentist. He said to me, listen, you could have swallowed it, could be stuck in your throat. Why don't you make an appointment at an ENT specialist? So off I went, he checked in my throat, said, look, it's not there, you could have swallowed it completely now, could be in your stomach, go see a gastroenterologist. So off I go, another appointment, eventually get into the gastroenterologist, drink all this milk stuff, and they do all these tests and look and whatever, and nothing there. Said, could be lower down, go visit a proctologist. So off I go to the proctologist, very embarrassing, yeah? And he goes, I know what your problem is, Wolfgang. You've got a tooth up there. You should see a dentist. Silly story, but it was a way to cope with it, and it made me feel more comfortable, and the audience had a chuckle, and I could get on with who I was. I have 3 tips for you to cope with your self-image. Number 1 is, do not be bothered and take note and let the media upset you. They are trying to tell you how to look and how to dress. What you find in the gossip magazines and in the press is unrealistic. Stop following that. I think that's the biggest tip of all. If you stop taking note of that, you're automatically going to feel better. Number 2, laugh a bit more. Laugh at yourself. Accept who you are and just chill. And then finally, number 3 is realize that everybody goes through phases in life. Everybody starts as a pimply teenager. That's all part of it. No one's going to judge you for that. And as you go through life, just realize that the real attractiveness in you is the contentment that you have with yourself. That you can walk in somewhere, no matter what you look like, and go, this is me, accept me. And guess what? When you start doing that, a lot more people are going to approach you and say, wow, there's something about you. Attractiveness is not by how we look physically. It's about the eyes, the aura, the energy that you give out, and just the pose that you have there. That self-confidence makes a big difference. So try and aim to just be more positive about yourself, and you'll see how much more confident you start feeling. I hope these tips helped you, and I look forward to seeing you in my next quick tip. So from me, Wolfgang Riebe, until next time, cheers.